Warning: the following program contains adult language, adult themes, and spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, and welcome to this week's episode of This Week's Episode. It's the week of May 20th, 2021. This is episode 231, and I'm your host, Chris Randazzo. Joining me tonight, as always, is amateur wrestler Karen Randazzo.
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Killer of ladies, Angie Fernot.
Oh my god, I'm so giddy.
And Sailor Moon aficionado, Evan Goldstein.
Different kind of moon.
Tonight on the news desk, a popular webcomic becomes a potentially popular TV show, Invincible becomes invincibler for a few more years, and we get our first glimpse of a slightly more modern Stone Age family. And more. But first, how's it going?
Can we please talk about Zoe?
Sure, dive right in.
So glad I made you guys watch that.
I want to look up. Are you MFers ready to talk about Zoe this week?
My quote tonight was almost, "It's not a dream," but I can't not do that without just screaming as I just did. So sorry in advance. And I'll explain context.
Best part of the episode for Evan, or all of the episodes, was the very end of the very last episode when we figure out what is finally going on, and Angela realizes it's not a dream. She bolts up and goes, "Oh, it wasn't a dream!"
It's really happening. I'm so excited. And for clarification, I have
the look of joy.
Yeah, I have like back pain and stuff, and I have to like lay on my stomach sometimes on the floor and like prop myself up into an up dog for all you yogis out there and watch TV that way. And so I like got so excited that I like launched off the floor. I honestly defied gravity. It was like a cat when you startle them and they bounce off all four legs at the same time. That was kind of the effect. I was over the moon because I was like, yeah, she's sitting on the bench. Yeah, he's approaching her. Oh, look, she's singing. That never happened. So obviously this isn't real. And then they're like, what the fuck? And I was like, ah! So
yeah, it was all right.
I mean, whatever. So I'm not super excited. Oh my God. That show makes me feel so many feels. And like, I'm going in reverse right now because that episode was just getting me so hard. But like when she and Simon, spoiler alert, okay, skip a million miles ahead if you don't want to hear spoilers from the show because I don't care. So when she and Simon split up, I was like, yes, okay, great, healthy breakup, good. I'm glad your chemistry was failing anyway. It's fine.
Yep.
Whatever.
For a whole season.
Yeah, but
I never liked them as a couple.
Evan has never, like from the second Simon walked on screen, he was like, nope, no. No. I don't know if it's Simon's fault or I just grew. It's because of Max.
To a max.
It's because of we are obsessed with that actor, like as every character he plays. I don't give a shit about him in real life because I don't trust actors in real life anymore. But like every role he plays, he is just so goddamn charming, and he's got the voice and the singing, and then he's just so sweet. He's a doll. Anyway. So yeah, you tell me your thoughts. Let's reflect in proper order.
Well, I was obviously very thrilled about the ending, and also equally happy about them breaking up. Mm-hmm. It was like the embodiment of that Donald Glover gif where he goes, "Good," like that, like enunciated face.
Yes.
Like, yep, not working for me, not working for the show, not working for anything. Other stuff from the season, I appreciated the way they dealt with like Mo's whole arc with Perry.
Mm-hmm.
There were some cool nuances there. I loved that they kind of discovered that like little tech startup that the company was going to crush, but then they decided to buy them and like lift them up instead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a awesome thing to happen that doesn't actually happen in real life.
Yeah, but I love that like we've talked about how television can influence life, right? And how we hope that it becomes it's often a reflection or a commentary on the things that are around us in the world, but sometimes it's also a place for inspiration. Like what you were saying with Mo, when she's when Zoe is supposed to be there to help Mo meet Perry's husband.
Ex-husband.
Or ex-husband, thank you. And then he shows up and he looks at Mo and he's like, "Nice to meet you." And then he's like, I don't know what to call you. She, her. And then Mo was like, he's like, "You can call me he. I normally do he, him, or you can do they, them, she, her, whatever, really." And it was just the way that they like so casually addressed the pronouns thing. Mm-hmm. But like didn't make it insignificant in making it casual, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So that, like, I turned to Evan and I was like, I know this doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's a big deal to me.
Yeah, it wasn't like a very special moment or a very special episode about pronouns. It was just like, this is a thing. Right. This is what should happen. And let's do it and then move on with it.
Because that's how it should be. That's it, And yeah. Just this.
And a similar thing with the like whole diversity in the tech startup was like, I feel like that's not a thing that happens too much where a corporation does the right thing and like adopts and tries to elevate people of color instead of just squashing them out to make more money. But I feel like that's a thing that doesn't happen very much because Zoe probably reflects accurately the lack of diversity in executive roles in those kind of companies. And so, like, if there were to be a Simon type figure in more companies, perhaps that would happen more. Mm-hmm. And so we can only hope that, people will see that. Oh, I saw this on the show, and what a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's more looking like making companies, or instilling the notion of companies looking at people as people, not as dollars to be made.
Yeah,
whether they're black, white, male, female. It's looking at them as people, which is the first thing that needs to happen.
Yes,
the start of that.
I thought that the glitch episode was pretty good.
Yeah.
When everybody swapped songs, yeah.
There was just a noise there.
Sorry.
But, and I appreciated that they dealt with Emily and her PPD.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was great to see that kind of, always. It's important to show that kind of stuff. The one thing that bothered me about it a little was like, once they got her to sort of admit that there was a problem and face up to it and tell her husband about it, then it was over and like she was fine.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, I remembered the last time we had been watching the show, because we were a little behind when we watched the end of the season. It was like, oh, cool, like, this is a really interesting topic because, I've never had a baby. I don't know anything about this other than what I've read. And I am very well aware of the fact that it can be an incredibly serious problem that women don't even know how to talk about. And as usual, Zoe took on incredibly sensitive, delicate topics, challenged them in a way that I thought was absolutely enthralling, and then delivered a message that I felt was completely relatable to all audiences and done in a way that was still respectful to the people or subject that was being addressed. But that was one thing I did. I also felt, I was like, oh, okay, so we're just moving past this now. And in the last episode, she's like talking to Zoe's mom and she's like giving her advice, just being like, hey, I'm on
antidepressants, so I'm an optimist now.
Well, it was funny because she was like, my psychiatrist gave me these happy pills and now I have all these things like hope and joy. She's like, yeah, it's weird. Like the way she said it, I was like, that was pretty funny. But it was this thing, like, I know people on antidepressants and I know that it's not that simple. And it does take time to find the right mix of medicine, and it does require the combination of medicine and therapy and like coming up with ways to cope and deal, and it's not an end all be all. It doesn't fix everything. So I don't know if maybe it's just because like they didn't really have time to address that fully, or if they just wanted to show like, hey, it is being addressed and she is doing better. But
yeah, I think you're right. There wasn't like enough time, and she's not the main character.
Right.
It just felt a little rushed. Like,
well, I had a lot of heavy topics going on in this season.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy topics going on in this season. So,
did anyone else feel like Zoe was kind of unraveling a lot this season? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, she wound up in therapy, which I thought was a great idea.
I wish they had picked a different therapist, though.
Why?
Because that's the guy who played the weird, awkward guy from the Proposal, the Ryan Reynolds movie, The Proposal.
Never heard of him. Who's that?
And like every time I see him on screen, I hear the accent from that movie, and he was just a weirdo. And at one point in time, he just like did a weird sort of strip for a bachelorette party, and I was like, oh no, not this guy. But that character, or those interactions between the two of them were fantastic. Like
it was nice for her to have a neutral party to talk about the powers too, where it wasn't like an issue that whether or not the powers are real.
I would thought that was amazingly well done.
And for those who don't know what actor Evan is talking about, it's Oscar Nunez, who played Oscar on The Office, for which he might be slightly better well known than.
But it's not.
Tell me to watch The Office in this house.
Oscar. It's not. That's not the character I see. Okay.
I understand that. I'm just explaining it for people who are not you.
I have to reference it to Ryan Reynolds. Correct. The fact that they turned her issues about Simon and Max, like just those conversations that she was having with the therapist into those about loss was like eye-opening. Like it's like, oh, that makes so much sense. It made this whole season just a slightly more deeper, because she has been dealing with a lot of loss. Like,
to clarify, like your point is that we all know she still had feelings for Max, but it wasn't something that shallow. Like it wasn't just about a boy. It was about more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, like watching those 3 episodes, because so we were up to date except for the last 3, and the last 3 were current day, then a whole episode of flashback, which I loved that flashback
that was
episode.
So great.
And then the final episode of the summation of the season, and of course they lead into the panicked, scrolling through our phones to see if have they announced the season 3 yet. But I mean,
which they have not, listeners, by the way. That hasn't been announced. So the second someone hears something, please post it in our Discord or email us, please, for the love of God, because I don't pay enough attention. And if I don't know when this is happening, all I'm going to do is obsess about it until I do.
You did make a comment that you read in passing about them possibly moving to Peacock.
Yeah, like the showrunners are basically saying, like, we wrote the last episode in a way that we wanted this to be something, if it didn't get picked up again, it would close up some loose ends, but if it did get picked up again, there was opportunities to continue to explore. But the key thing that they were saying was, we weren't told, no, don't do that, as if there was finality to it. It just hasn't been announced for another season yet. So if NBC didn't take it specifically for that, then it would probably go to Peacock. And honestly, if Peacock didn't take it, there's got to be someone out there who would, because the show's so good.
People love this show.
And it's doing well, too, from my understanding.
It fucking better be. I want to shout about this show from the rooftops.
I want more Skylar Aston all the time.
All the time, every day. Yeah, but everybody, the whole cast. And like, also, I think the thing for Mo with me is that after discovering that actor was also on Glee, I felt like some of the roles that have been played by Mo's character have been like semi-autobiographical in some way. And like, it just gives a lot of depth to seeing that actor in those roles and the way that they're played. I don't know. There's just like, I feel as though every time I look at these people on screen, I'm finding new ways to connect with characters that I didn't know I was going to connect with, and storytelling that reaches into parts of my heart and my brain that most television never touches.
I'm actually looking through the main cast, and this season had touched upon a major event in every one of them. Because
I mean, it's an ensemble cast in a true way, because really everybody Zoe is the main character, but everybody is fleshed out. It's nobody's left out
even
of
like
that.
the tertiary, like Tobin getting his little relationship thing going.
It's so
Maggie,
cute.
the mom, dealing with the fact that maybe she's thinking about possibly considering moving on with her life. Like that's a huge thing for that character.
And the fact that they hinted like she was gonna develop a gambling problem just so they
I
could.
was so nervous in that 5 minutes.
But I feel like that's something you would expect, right? Like, oh God, she's grieving and she's got like in any other television show, that's exactly what would have happened.
And nope, they switched it. They flipped it around and made it so that she took the casinos for thousands.
Yeah,
She kept pulling money out of potted
just
plants.
completely blew my mind. Yeah.
It did strike me a little funny, though, like, only on TV is there a problem. What am I going to do with all this extra money?
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
holy shit, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I guess that's a problem you get to have because your show also deals with, like, gender nonconformity and, like, racism and diversity in the workplace in, like, real, honest, true ways. I guess I'll throw you a bone and let you have the white lady has too much money.
Gotta have some normal simplicity of sitcomness in here somewhere.
I'm gonna throw in there that I didn't like the Aiden arc very much, though.
Who's Aiden?
The
neighbor kid?
musician. Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, the foreign kid?
Yeah, like so for anyone who is trying to follow along with us, sorry, we're all over the place. You need to just watch this show, and then you need to come back and re-listen to this and get it, okay? Just fucking get it. Because, this kid who was appearing in this season ends up sort of being, like, this potential love interest for Zoe and sort of, like, maybe a rebound for Max or maybe something different or maybe not, like, away from Simon, and encouraging her to, like, free herself up and, let go of having to be so in control of everything, and ultimately ends up with her doing drugs with her boss, but that's a whole other thing.
Also gave David, her brother, an outlet for his music. I mean, like, this kid was all over the place.
And it was just, and then the awkward, like, conclusion to the story arc was he confesses his feelings for Zoe by making a song about her that her brother plays in the band and sings vocal backup for, and it's not a PG song. Very suggestive song content. And it ends up, like, the brother doesn't realize it until he's actually in that moment singing about it, and he's
It's
like,
on
oh,
her birthday or something,
God.
wasn't it? Like a big year birthday?
Yeah, it was her 30th birthday, I think, right? Because she's kind of a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just that was, but it was funny. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. It was just, I was like, nah, dude, I don't need you. Get out.
It was like filler almost, but it was funny filler because if without that character, we wouldn't have gotten the connection with now the boss that showed up more and more throughout the final episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that side of the brother was great. Like, he was dealing with his own midlife crises kind of situation, while his wife was dealing with her postpartum depression, and, like, everybody was having something going on, and then this Australian kid was just like, hey, I like you. You're pretty.
I just I looked him up because my suspicion was that maybe he's a musician who was, like, up and coming, and the network was like, oh, hey, let's put this, like, up and coming musician kid on the show to, like, get in some younger viewers or whatever. And I mean, he does appear to be a musician, but not, like, one that I...
Is he part of, like, the Skarsgård family? Because I feel like there's 27 of them.
No, but he's such a baby. How old? I'm trying to find out how old he is.
I don't know how old he is, but
he was supposed to be considerably younger than Zoe in the show. Like, she babysat for him or something.
Yeah,
which is why, like, I laughed so hard when she was like, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But, and I don't know whether you took my advice and continued on, and if you did, we can talk about it. But he's also in Ginny and Georgia, and like I did not pick up on that at all.
Isn't he the brother?
He's the brother.
Yeah. Okay,
Like,
so I
the
noticed
Australian
that.
accent threw me for a loop.
Right. So
He was 23 years old.
Oh my
Fuck him.
God.
Yikes.
Yeah, so so I did not get to continue on that yet because we have a heavy news week, and I was like, all right, I'm going to wait until the next episode because I had other stuff I wanted to wrap up. But I am continuing. I did actually start playing an episode, and then I was like, no, I can't focus on this right now. So I'm back in it. Like, I'm invested again.
Okay.
But yeah, I absolutely knew who you were talking about because I took one look at him and went, nope. We'll see how that goes. That's a whole other thing.
My only other thing I have to say about the season is like Max is just freaking wonderful.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he gave up the job for her, despite the fact that that's not really how life works. But
The fact that he showed up covered in glitter. He showed up covered in confetti to the hospital. Come on.
Didn't even take the time to pick that shit off.
He's amazing.
And like, I'm not sure that would really be how it would work if you gave up a job opportunity, but I guess
TV.
the hiring person would go to the runner-up if, one of his first choices stepped down. So it's conceivable that he would have been like, all right, yes, I'll take your partner since you want me to give the job to her.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
and I felt the same way that she did when they had that argument in the kitchen at Maximo's where she was like, how do you think that makes me feel? I'm so embarrassed that I only got the job because of blah, blah, blah. But the way he turned it around and explained it that no, like he felt like she deserved it more than anyone he'd ever met, despite only knowing her a couple hours. I was like,
right? I know.
I
Instantly
don't know if
diffused.
it would have worked like any other way, but when you look like Skylar Astin, you can certainly get away with that shit.
So when she shows up at the airport, okay, first before we even talk about that, when Mo's reaction to the fact that he puts it together, oh, we're going to the airport, that excitement level. Did you?
I had to sit through the rest of the crap. I'm not like missing the best part.
Yeah.
Did you? I immediately knew the song that he was singing. Like my heart said, no, like they're misreading this situation. It's not for, what was her name? Rose?
Yeah.
Rose.
They got me.
Yeah. Okay. It was done so well. Like, I guess those heart songs and the way they play, they put the songs, the lyrics of the song right there so that you don't have to decode it. But they were just given like that whole episode where I guess it was the one person off the whole, playlist
the
shuffle.
glitching.
Yeah.
But you could, if you didn't think about it, those songs still worked for each one of those people. Technically, sort of. It was just weird. Like, I mean, the Fox song was really out of place.
That was ridiculous.
I died so hard when that song came out when John was a baby, and I used to sing it to him when I was losing my mind.
As you do.
As you do.
They played to an extra level of like conversation that she's having with these people, but without having it with the actual person. And the way they played that so well, like, oh, I can buy it. He's going with Rose. He's going to New York. New York State of Mind. That was the first half of this. I don't even remember when that episode played, but I believed it, and I prayed and I hoped that they were good. Like they set the scene. She's sitting there, and someone's gonna show up, whether it be her dad, because every time that man showed up on the screen, knowing that it wasn't real, just tore my heart out. Peter Gallagher is a goddamn treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that this season could have ended any better than it did. Because, yes, we all want to see it progress. We want to see a season 3. I'm happy with the way, like, if it doesn't come back, like, I'm happy. Like, I believe that they're going to be together. I'm okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a sort of finale. Like, I'm okay that she has the guy that I want her to be with. He's being open because like their biggest hurdle was he couldn't hear her songs, and they wait, let's get rid of that clause. Like now he can, maybe we'll see, but he did. Like it wrapped everything up so nicely that I wasn't angry when it ended, except for there wasn't another episode to watch.
Exactly. Like I get what you're saying. Like it does, put a bow on things, and it would be fine if it ended here. But I really want to know more about how like these powers work. Like now that he can hear her songs, like does it like do other people have this, and like you only get to hear each other's songs if it's true love, or like I don't know. I want more.
I want to see Mo's reaction.
Right.
Like I like that. I want to see that episode where Mo gets the powers for one episode.
Yeah, and he's the only one who like he knows about Zoe's powers, and then he knows Max too. So, but I think that what you were saying about like how the songs could be interpreted in different ways, I think that's why it was so smart of them to include in this season how Zoe was relying kind of too much on her powers and not paying attention to like the people in front of her, and not just listening to their heart songs, but like just paying attention to people.
Yeah.
Because like like you're saying, like we saw Max singing on the sidewalk at the airport, and totally I thought that he was singing to Rose, and so did Zoe. But if you just rely on the powers, of course that's what you're gonna think. But if you like actually just observe and be with the people that you're with and not just rely on the songs, then it just interpreted a totally different way. So good job, show.
Good job, show.
Oh my god. Does anyone want to talk about anything else they've been watching before we jump into news? Or
I have to wake up Chris. Honey?
Hey, what about Scarecrow's brain?
Apparently, Chris, you haven't watched the show, have you not?
No.
Okay.
He
No.
missed out.
Oh, I wondered why there was no commentary. Did you watch Zootopia with the kids?
Yeah,
How did you like Zootopia?
it was fine. I had seen it before.
Oh, okay.
We
I
had
thought
watched-
that was new for the whole family.
No, we watched it with one of the kids watched it at their cousin's house a long time ago, and I saw most of it then, and it was fine. I liked it. It was cute.
The conversation with Dan about John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was what we expected it to be. Yeah. That was a
Yeah,
good
no, it was a good time. Yeah, we had some fun. No, I watched I had my second shot of
yeah, you did.
the vaccine, and it didn't go great. I was put down hard for a day. So I got up in the morning and I finally watched the Dragon Ball Super movie Broly, which was very cool. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. It was I was gonna try and do a Dragon Ball Super 60-second summary on it.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
we haven't done that in a long time. We could, if you want to try it, we can. I still got the music somewhere.
Yeah, sure, we can do it.
Let me. I got a timer here. So, all right, whenever you are ready, sir.
Here, I'm gonna set my timer on my watch. And ready, set, go. Okay, a long time ago on the planet Vegeta, the king Vegeta had a son named Vegeta, and this kid Vegeta was super strong, and we're like, hey, this guy's gonna be the super strongest guy, he's gonna be legendary Super Saiyan, it's gonna be awesome. But then this other kid named Broly was born, and he was stronger than the prince, and the king Vegeta, not the king, not the planet or the prince, didn't think that was a good idea, because like he wanted the Prince Vegeta to be like the super strongest. So he basically stranded the Broly and his dad out in the middle of nowhere. Then the planet Vegeta and the king Vegeta blew up because Frieza blew stuff up. A long time later, Broly and his grandfather find out that Frieza finds out he's still alive and is like, I want to get revenge on King Vegeta. And Frieza's all like, well, King Vegeta's dead, but his prince is still alive. So Broly goes over there to kill Vegeta because his dad told him to, and he gets super strong, and it's just a bunch of fighting for like 25 minutes. And then in the end, Goku is a good guy, and he beats Broly, kinda, but then Broly gets to live, and Goku wants to fight him again someday. Boom.
So you just
Boom.
60 seconds, an hour and a half movie?
Yeah, like the first 10 minutes is all, kind of set up, and then it's just like fighting.
fighting.
It was a good time. Felt good. Good to be back.
I have to say,
So,
I'm
go
surprised that there was actually a full 10 minutes of setup. Wow.
It is.
Well, I mean,
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball, there's like, a decent amount, like, there's a whole maybe 5 minutes of story that they'll stretch across like an hour if they need to. That's that show is the king of fillers.
That is true. How long did someone pose before they actually fired a shot?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of yelling. There's a little bit less of that in this. This is a really fun movie to watch. I very much enjoyed it. So let's see. I finished that up, and I went to watch The Bad Batch because I'm our resident Star Wars whore, and there's new Star Wars programming out there that I hadn't watched yet, and I just wasn't particularly enthused by the concept of The Bad Batch. So, but I wasn't going anywhere, so I parked myself in bed and I watched the first episode, which was an hour, and then I watched the 2 subsequent episodes, which were regular 20-25 minute episodes, and it's fine.
Oh, man.
The first episode was like, okay, this is more interesting than I thought it was, and then it segued into some filler episodes, which were fine, but they weren't really advancing things a whole lot. But there is kind of a nice overarching mystery going on. There's this little kid character that was introduced named Omega, and that kid is a clone from Camino, where all the other clones were from, where they cloned Jango Fett. And the premise of this show is a little bit more interesting than I thought, because the premise is the show starts off with Order 66 and a young Kanan Jarrus, which was really cool. You get to see Kanan Jarrus and his master, basically his master get killed and then him get away right as Order 66 is happening, which sets up Star Wars Rebels, which is pretty cool. But the premise of the show is the formation of the Empire, and how, like, what are they going to do with the clones, and how they're transitioning from clone armies, which are efficient but very expensive, to stormtroopers. And how the Empire is setting up stuff like a money system and whatnot all over the galaxy, and just how terrifying something like that can be. Like, they just keep going to all these different planets where rules were in place, and then they show up with this just absurd military might, like, this is how we're doing things now, and we're in charge, and everything's going to be better, trust us. And and it just kind of goes. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. But this clone, they meet this little girl named Omega, and it's like, all right, whatever. She seems to have some sort of, like, maybe force powers. I don't know. It's not all that interesting. But then they mentioned that she was a clone. And I was like, wait a minute, who's she a clone of? Like, she's just this little girl all by herself, like little human girl by herself on Camino, which was the place where they built the clones, and they have those super tall necked, creepy alien people. So that was kind of interesting. And then she knows about the Bad Batch group, Clone Troop 99 or whatever. So she thought they were, like, super cool because they're all weird. they're not regular clones, they're enhanced clones, and apparently she is too. So she winds up not feeling safe on Camino and goes with them on various adventures or whatever, because Admiral Tarkin shows up on Camino, and he's just like, so you got to prove to us that the clones are still viable, because we're ready to shut this stuff down. And I don't know, it's a neat enough premise. It's very, very much more Clone Wars, but without the interesting characters.
Without the clones or the war, really.
It's all clones and wars, but it doesn't really have any of the, like, I watched the Clone Wars for, like, Anakin and Ahsoka, and it's kind of weird saying I watched the Clone Wars for Anakin, but he was genuinely interesting character on that show, unlike the movies. But yeah, you watch that show for most of those other characters, and, like, the clones were neat, but having it very much focused on these clones, like the Bad Batch, because they're all funky, their chips didn't really work, so none of them executed Order 66 except for one of them that was like all gung-ho about it. He's like, well, we got to kill that Jedi. And they're like, the hell are you talking about? He's like, you got the order? We got to kill the Jedi. And they're like, but we don't really follow orders most of the time. I'm like, fine, I'm killing the Jedi myself. Like, what are you doing? You can't kill the Jedi. The Jedi's our friends. Like, everyone else killing the Jedi. I'm gonna kill the Jedi. They said kill the Jedi, so I'm gonna kill the Jedi. And they like take that guy, and he winds up being more of a dick. And they're like enhancing his chip to make him even more angry at everybody. And that's gonna go well. But obviously, I'm gonna stick with it. It's a Star Wars show. But it's fine. It's not blowing me away. It's not blowing my skirt up.
Aw.
But it's it's doing the trick.
Getting you your fix.
And that was kind of like I passed out almost at the end of the first episode for a while, and then I came back and watched the rest of them because I was just very dead that day. And I think the only other thing really worth mentioning is that one night we watched John Wick, and then we made the executive decision that we were going to watch. We're going to jump into Cougar Town.
Yes.
We jumped in to finish the last season of Cougar Town Abbey because we watched all of Cougar Town, and then like the last season was like on another network or something. And this was
weird.
Before Plex, right?
Yes.
Like this was before we had an easy way of getting it, and then we just kind of never watched it over the following years. But now we're in this golden age of streaming, so it's on Amazon, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. So we're like, you know what? This is the time. Because it was like, well, we could do Orphan Black, but the last time we tried to watch the last season of Orphan Black, we watched 10 minutes and said, yeah, we got to start over again. So we weren't quite ready for that kind of commitment.
You won't have that feeling doing the...
Yeah, no, Cougar Town was fine. We slipped right back into that, no problem. That show's so weird. so freaking weird, man. It's good though. I mean, it's pretty much exactly as I remember. It's Scrubs light. It's not a constant home run, but it does always make me laugh at least once per episode. So, yeah, it was nice.
I have a question for Evan and Angie.
Go ahead.
Oh.
What's you guys' problem with Shadow and Bone?
Oh yeah,
what
good point.
is your problem? How are
Okay,
you
wait,
one of the most
Stop. Because this is a conversation that we're going to have next episode. So all we have to talk about is
Wait, why are we having an next? Oh, is that the show we're supposed to watch?
We're watching The Nevers, season 1, episode 1. That's the homework for next week.
Okay.
So
I'm not talking about The Nevers.
I know, but that's where her conversation was going.
No, it wasn't. No. Okay.
Okay. So,
okay.
what did we not?
guess-
So, how did we feel about this show?
I can talk about it. I will talk about it, but I will not bring up The Nevers. I actually didn't. It did not cross my mind. Oh, I see why now.
There it
Okay.
is
Wait,
now.
no. Okay. So I see where he was going with that. We'll save that for next week. And for anyone else who's listening and confused, it's all right. I'm always confused. Welcome to the party. The thing I am very surprised about is that while watching Shadow and Bone, the impression that I got from this show repeatedly with every character they introduced that was female and relatively interesting was, you ain't gonna make it very far without no man. And I was like, cool, the show is shallow, the storytelling is bullshit, and I'm bored. I hate this. When will it be over? So I was very surprised because you are often the first person to nitpick the aspects of writing that basically bring in weird gender stereotypes or like bullshit norms for roles involving women and kind of like putting them in positions where the writing is done in such a way that it's kind of insensitive to women. And I felt like the main character of this show was constantly in a situation where a man had to control or save her. And she was not very good at doing anything for herself or by herself.
I will grant you that, yes, she was like being controlled. I felt like that had a lot more to do with her being naive than being like, obviously the men in her life felt like they could control her because she was a woman, but also because she was kind of young and naive. And I feel like she came up in the world with this kind of one idea of how things are and never really questioned it. And
I mean, we like
that allowed those people to take advantage of her.
I understand the world setup that they did and the character setup. Like, it was just odd to me because I don't normally pick up on those things. Like, I'll watch a show and all of the things that you normally see, Karen, and the things that are shown, like, look at this, Evan, see this. Like, I picked up on it, like, every time a female was sort of showing some sort of empowerment, it got undercut by a male role. Which was, like, I don't normally see that. Like, who was that girl that was the seamstress? No, the seamstress. Yeah. That seamstress was awesome. They just keep going with that character. And then all of a sudden they made it that she became really meek around this guy.
Do you know who he's talking about, Karen?
No.
The girl who was, seamstress wasn't exactly the word. She's like the healer, mender, tailor.
Tailor woman. Yeah.
Like, yeah. I just thought, like, that was really weird because she was, like, super confident, super strong, and then all of a sudden she became a little girl.
Like, at the end when she was like, well, I am a soldier and I follow him, and it was like, but you've always come across as, like, a pretty independent thinker and, like, someone who, and I understand her background where she was sold to this king and, like, yeah, she fucking killed him dead. And I'm like, all right.
And I'm talking about the guy that made the costume. Like, she had a thing for the guy that made the gloves.
Oh, yeah, yeah. She had a thing for him.
And, like, every time he came around, she like, changed character types.
Oh, I just thought that was cute because she had a crush. But that's good. Listen, that's a woman with a crush,
yeah, that
honey.
didn't really bother me. That was
didn't
just
bother
like,
me.
She wants to bone that guy.
Yeah,
so.
That was kind of cute, actually. No, I was more bothered by her complete transformation when at the end it was like, I'm a soldier and I follow this man. And it's like, well, so far you've given me reason to think that you're a confident person who thinks for herself, who doesn't want to be owned and controlled. And now you're literally giving up your freedoms to follow someone who you know is wrong. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And I felt like
she seemed kind of conflicted about that, to be honest. Like, that seemed like her telling herself, no, this is the way it is because I got to where I am because this is the way it is and I need to maintain the status quo. But she was doubting that a bit. Like, I feel like that's not the end of her arc.
I hope not, because I didn't like where it was going.
I think that there's going to be some sort of redemption for her. The thing I'm a little confused about, I mean, like, yeah, the main character was a little, I don't know, she was kind of wishy-washy, but the whole, like, I liked the relationship with her friend, that dude, because, yeah, she was kind of dependent on him, but he was also dependent on her. Like, the two of them were codependent. It wasn't like she had to rely on him to save her all the time. Like, he was nothing without her. If she, like, disappeared, then he would have just turned into a ball of mush. Like, the two of them worked as a codependent situation there. Like, I didn't think that was a whole, like, she needs her man or something like that. It was, they were friends and clearly want to be more than friends.
You say that, but as soon as he was like, when he stopped writing or she didn't get any letters from him, her love interest or her interest turned to the other guy. Like, the guy who was in power, the dark wizard dude.
Yeah.
And then that got squelched because, like, he showed his colors or that other girl came into play. Like, it was just a lot of...
She wants to bone the tall guy, not she doesn't care about him anymore. She figured that she knows how he feels about whatever they call magic people, mutants, whatever. So after not getting letters for a long time, she's assuming he doesn't like her anymore. So
but, like, Chris, think about this.
Was manipulated in that direction.
They've spent their entire childhoods together. They've spent years together. They've followed each other into this, like, military, whatever that was. Like, they have done everything together. And after a few months, he's like, shit, something's wrong. And she's like, meh, guess I'll move on.
And that's the thing. That's what solidified my opinion about that. She's like, Matt, let's move on. And he's like, fuck this noise. I'm going to go hunt down a mythical creature to possibly get the ability to go see her. Maybe.
Yeah, but he does not have like an entire hierarchy of people saying she was being actively manipulated. He's just like, well, I'm nothing without her, so I need to do literally anything to find her. She had a very different situation. Not, I'm weak woman, I'm being manipulated by strong men. It was a totally different situation.
I felt like it was written in that way, though. Like, like that's a good way to put it. I am weak woman. I'm manipulated by strong men. I just felt like all of, like, even with the assassin character. So, okay, let's look at the female characters that I noticed in this, and you guys can tell me if I missed one. There was the tailor who we discussed, the main female lead, the healer, the heart render. Was that what they call them? Yeah, that girl who was the spy. And then, like, the assassin chick, who I swear to God I thought she had powers because she was, like, fucking Batman.
Maybe she had, like, Hawkeye-like powers. Like, she had really good
so
aim.
badass.
That was her power.
Yeah, she was pretty cool.
But they all ended up, like, every one of them seemed to have their destiny or, like, some aspect of who they were. And it may be because, like, that's the world that this is written into. But, like, somehow it seemed as though there was a male holding power over a female in all of these situations. And
yeah, and that seems to be an overarching problem. Like,
and that was the thing
does not look like, oh, there's a bunch of evil men in charge of all these situations, in charge of all these cool women. The plot's gonna be overthrowing those men. Like,
but that's not what it was.
Pretty obvious from the get-go.
Oh, see, to me that didn't seem obvious from the get-go. It seemed like
but you're saying that it was to overthrow the evil men. That wasn't. They overthrew one evil dude, and everybody else ended up in a relationship.
Or not a relationship.
Season 1. This is part of a much larger thing. Like, all the bad people were dudes.
Right. Well,
that's also there was the villainous girl that had the wind power that made the boat move. Like, she was kind of a bitch most of the
she
episodes.
Was a bitch most of the time, and then she was like, oh shit, the dude's the head bitch in charge.
Yeah,
I'm gonna not be a bitch anymore. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, if you're viewing this and like, no, this is it. This is the entire story, is that all women are weak and that the bad men are in charge, and that's just the way it is, and you gotta like it. But like, the people that everything's setting up to be taking down are like the big bad nasty men. Like, it seems to me like this is where it is going, in the direction of, wait a second, I don't need this. Like, here's the world, it is telling you that you need to listen to these men. And then every character's coming to the realization, like, oh, the dude who dresses in black, whose power is literal darkness, kind of a bad guy. Maybe we should take that guy down.
I mean, they did put that shit on Front Street.
Who is a complete nonstop piece of shit. Well, maybe he's a nonstop piece of shit. Or the other guys on the other side, the men in charge on the other side of the fold that were like, yeah, no, you can totally trust us. They can't trust us. We're going to kill them when they come through there. It's going to be great. Like, all the men were all in charge, but like, they were also not the interesting characters, with the exception of, Prince Caspian. He was kind of interesting. I like his story. He makes a good villain, but I don't know. I don't see this as this huge, terrible problem. I think it's what they're going to overcome in future seasons. And the storytelling being bad, that's where I really don't see eye to eye, because the story itself isn't exactly like, hey, this is super interesting stuff. But it was told well enough that I gave a crap about finding out what happened next. Like, when the two main characters, the light lady and her hunter boyfriend, finally ran into each other again, I was like, oh, great, now we're going to sit through like the rest of the season of the two of them fighting each other. But instead, they had a conversation and hashed it out in about 45 seconds.
Yeah, didn't he just go like, your past, like, what you had to do doesn't matter or whatever? He was like, no, I get it.
Yeah, but like, they first got there and he was all just like, well, I guess you don't care about me anymore because I've had to find this monster, but you wouldn't return my letters. It's like, what are you talking about? You didn't return my letters. Humph. And I was like, oh, great, it's going to be Full House for a week. And then it was just not. Or like the dude with the cane who seemed like he was all going to be this asshole evil guy in the beginning, and he turns out to be like, well, maybe he's not all that evil. He's kind of greedy, but he's interesting. And who doesn't love the black guy with the knives? He was fun.
The guns? You mean the guns?
The guns, sorry, not the knives, the guns. Yeah, she had the knives, he had the guns.
Yeah.
Man, that thing with the goat, And
Yeah,
the
that
train
go-
when he killed
See,
all those
like
things.
that was
my favorite.
That
They-
was good stuff, right
Actually,
there.
that crew was my favorite part of the whole show.
Oh,
I
me
actually
too,
cared
by
about
far.
their
They
plot.
were pretty much the reason I was watching the
Yes.
show. Like, I kind of cared about the late lady overcoming things, but I cared most about when are they going to meet these three? Because that was the kind of thing that I was expecting to take seasons to get to,
Like
after
Game of Thrones.
Like Game of Thrones. Like, oh no, she just literally jumped in the back of their car. That's kind of great.
kind of a full houseian moment, but still.
But still, in the positive way, like they moved the plot in the directions that you kind of wanted them to go in, that defied the tropes of here's how we're going to make this shit last longer, and here's how we're going to make these people misunderstand things over and over again. Like, the main character
you're looking for
was
these guys? Oh, they just left, and you'll never find them again for like 8 seasons.
exactly, and it didn't fuck around with that stuff, and I appreciated it. So it wasn't an amazing story. I wasn't like clawing for the next episode. This didn't have me as enthralled as Game of Thrones or Lost or anything like that, but it was something I enjoyed watching because it was fun and it was telling a decent story well. And that's why I enjoyed it.
The only part that I like, okay, so I wasn't a big fan of the main storytelling, like the main story, the tertiary story, the crew that, is doing something to keep his, his club and like all of that underhanded, sneaky stuff. That storyline was really good because of the characters that were in it. Then but
her fate was still being controlled by the guy that was leading it because he
third
bought her down.
storyline out.
Sorry.
The witch and I don't know who you want to call him, the foreign German
the
looking
kidnapper
dude.
guy.
Yeah, like I liked their little story because that woman was baller. I don't care what you say, but
The Heartrender and the hunter dude who wanted to kill her, and then they got lost in the snow. Those two.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, love those two. That was great.
and it was just I don't know if it was because of that, like that storyline was sort of flipped-flopped in the beginning and then they sort of balanced each other out because their introduction was she was by far stronger than him. Even though she was captured, she was the stronger character. Then that story played out to where they balanced each other out, and I wanted to see where they were going, and unfortunately
That broke my heart.
That was
TV
such a
crap
bummer.
came into play where they're
And
not
he's
listening
such
to
a
each other.
freaking idiot too, because like she told him like what happened, like, look, it was either this or you're dead, and he's like, no, I can't trust you, you're a witch. It's like, why are you so freaking stupid, dude? She's
TV stuff.
Ugh.
And
And granted, it wasn't the best plan in the world, as the other guy explains. Like, no, he's not going to court for like years. You just screwed this guy. It's like, damn it. But the fact that I didn't even think about it until he said it, where she was trying to feed him on the other side of the jail. It's like, oh shit, she literally reversed the role to when they first met.
And
this does look bad. I'm not going to blame the guy completely.
Absolutely.
That looks bad.
not the best plan, but the only plan that she could have gone with because he was going to die.
Yeah.
But the way that story ended connected my two favorite parts of this show, which was the witch meeting the crew on that boat.
Yeah.
That leads to what I feel a season 2, if it's just the 5 of them, I will enjoy so much more.
That's the thing. Like, that was half the show, was these two chunks. And the other characters were better when they interacted with them. Like when what's his nuts? I just want to call him Plank because he just didn't have much in the way of personality. The guy who his whole personality is, I like this girl, the girl who makes light,
the
hunter,
boyfriend,
Matt,
the best friend.
Yeah, whatever. Plank.
Mal and Alina. Okay, that's the
Mal.
character's name.
Thank you.
Mal
Remember
and
that.
Alina.
Karen, I need your thoughts on this too, by the way.
But like those two were fine, I was interested in the mythology that was going on with the magic stuff, but like not super interested in their plot except when it interacted with the other ones, which I thought were pretty great. So
And that's
I don't know.
That's my point.
I
is
like
that-
the show, not like over the moon. Oh my God, I'm doing cartwheels. Like I expected this to be kind of trash, and it was pretty cool. So
sci-fi-esque sci-fi quality.
there's something about like, because I watched the trailer for it. You know, when you go to Netflix and it shows the trailer, and it's like which one, the fire woman on the boat, like in the beginning, just giving this big old speech.
It going into the dock, and that's okay. We like it, Doc.
I was like,
Doc
oh, I
Joey,
get it.
do
You want to
better.
be Joss Whedon. I see what you're doing here. You've watched an episode of Firefly. This is very much that speech, and I expected that personality and that specific character to just be around, and that's the show I'm watching. Nope. So I was pleasantly surprised by it. I'm not saying it's the highest art in the history of the land. I'm not saying it's a goddamn masterpiece. I'm saying I was very entertained by it, and I really want to see more of it.
I like how I just opened up the argument and then sat back and
Were you making the menacing hand-wringing gesture, like you were tapping your fingertips together? And ha.
No,
Look, I've
I
been
just want to
quiet for
know.
like 45 minutes while you guys talked about Zoe's extraordinary playlist.
Yes.
I wanted to talk for a little bit.
No, absolutely. And you said most of what I would have said. I was a little surprised to see that you guys didn't like it when you posted about it. And now that I hear you explain why, I can see it.
That's all I
didn't
needed.
really occur to me at the time I was watching it. I think the problem with the show, with the kind of trying to keep down women, is less a problem with the show itself and more a problem with the patriarchal society that is like a part of the world that they built and presumably are going to be taking down. So I agree with both of you.
Cool. No, I can.
Way to
I
be sweet
appreciate
there,
that.
Karen.
I just wanted you to, because like we watched Bridgerton, right? And Bridgerton, like I felt like that was a patriarchal society where the women still felt like strong women, despite the fact that they were in a much more oppressive feeling society to me. Like I just felt like it was better writing overall. And I think that's what I was really getting hung up on, is like I personally feel like most of the time when you and I talk about television, you just have exquisite taste and you have good insight. And the fact that you liked this show, and like I blatantly just didn't like it and only stuck with it because I wanted to say that I got through it because I knew we were going to talk about it. Like, and that I didn't find the main characters, who are supposed to be so important, interesting in any sense of the word. That to me, I was like, this is not great. But I can also see the points that you guys are making. So I think it'll be one of those shows that comes back around in the second season, and I'll give that a chance. So
Hey, everybody gets different things out of things.
And that's
It's
what
true.
makes it a beautiful, beautiful world.
yeah,
That and trees.
That's true.
I love trees.
But not their pollen.
Before we cut to break, because I feel it's coming up, I wanted to make a comment. If you have not watched Invincible yet, don't watch Jupiter's Legacy first and then go into Invincible, because Invincible is a much better comic book show. Okay, because we tried to watch Jupiter's Legacy today,
Great.
and it's not great. And
It doesn't look great.
I think it's because Netflix doesn't know how to do a fake beard properly.
Right. That was really. I watched the trailer, and the whole time I'm looking at that beard, like that ain't real.
Well, the beard, it's white hair. Like it's everything looked fake on the
it
two
all looked
main
like-
characters.
It looked like
beard is a
Comic-Con
lie.
cosplay.
Yes, it did. Now we watched it. We went, huh? Okay. We're gonna watch the next one. But it was because like Invincible was so good. Like I kept watching episodes and going, I'm gonna continue. Like need to watch that. I don't need to necessarily watch Jupiter's Legacy episode 2. I'm going to.
And also comparatively, if you want something live action, since this is real, like live action versus an animated show, if you just look at The Boys, one episode of The Boys compared to this for production quality, The Boys is a very violent show. This show did get violent in the first episode, but just for the sake of production value, looking at the contrast, I'm not sure what the intention was here in the Netflix show, like why it's being done this way, if it's going to be something where they like upgrade the costuming on the characters at some point, but like the beard, that beard doesn't get an upgrade. It's just bad. That beard is just bad. It's bad
I don't know
beard.
if Josh can't. Is that his name? Josh? What did I say his name was? I can't remember, but I don't think
know.
you can grow a beard because even a bad beard dyed white would have been better. It's like the hair plugs of beards. It was weird.
It's a weird beard.
But like we actually put that onto that. Like I said, I want to watch at least one of these episodes so that I can possibly, because everything else I've watched this week has been more of what I've been watching. And that was the one new thing. And I was like, sort of a swing and a miss. Maybe a bunt. Actually, maybe a foul ball. We'll call it a foul for the episode 1. We'll see what happens with episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep me posted because we were, looking for what we were going to watch next. And we both watched the trailer for that and said, no, thanks.
I did catch up
Fair.
on Final Space. Remember that cartoon that I was talking about the last season?
Oh, yeah.
I love that cartoon. Every episode I laugh and I borderline cry. There's so much emotion in this 22-minute episode of comedy cartoon. It's shocking to me. But other than that, it's all been paranormal and American Housewife, so my bar's kind of low.
Really got to combine those two things.
I would love that. Oh, it would make my life so much easier.
I feel like then you should just start watching like the Munsters and.
No, that's not real paranormal, honey.
No,
Ghost
I
Hunters
know, but
International
it's
is
fun.
real.
Oh
They
my
go
God.
to foreign lands and look for foreign ghosts. And my favorite part of that is when a really white guy tries to speak to a foreign ghost in their native tongue, which is just bad.
Does the really white guy have a really white beard?
No, he's got it's like he can't grow a beard, so he just grows that chin strap. It's bad. It's God bless Ghost Hunters International. Anywho, I'm done.
All right. Well, that was fun, but I think it's time for us to take a quick break. We're going to do some commercials, and when we come back, we're going to catch up on all things TV news. You're listening to this week's episode from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, puzzle games are great, but we here in the United States have missed out on a fair few. But which ones are keepers? How do we determine these things? Thankfully, the fine fellows over at the Weekend Rental Podcast have a surefire way: buy, rent, burn. Will Mario's Super Picross make the cut? Don't know if I said that right. It darn well better, because that game is great. Plus, crazy cool garage sale finds, discharging G.I. Joes, some old movie talk, and a whole lot more. Don't miss Weekend Rental Podcast, episode 99. The Gamers... Is it Picross? I don't know. The Gamers Picross it off the list. Picross?
Picross.
Picross.
This means
What
she's
is
never played Picross, and it makes me really sad.
Yeah, I didn't.
She probably has, but
It's a picture crossword.
isn't there another name?
You're a
for
picture crossword. What is that?
Yes, the word you're looking for is nonogram.
It? No. that's
Nope,
not-
that was way too 5-letter vocabulary.
Ouch, honey.
No, I meant for me.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you're talking about me. Next, if you know me, you know how much I love Transformers, especially pronouncing the names of obscure characters. I'm just waiting for it to be in there because I know how this commercial ends. Especially pronouncing the obscure characters from all corners of the fiction. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's any of that on the docket for me this week, because the subject of the latest episode of Sparkcast is actually all about the 25th anniversary DVD set. How does this release stack up against other Transformers releases around the same episodes? Does that make... Oh, wait, this is for the show. God, I was going with the movie. Now it makes sense. What did Sean mail to Thomas over a year ago? What is a Deceptarian, and why is Chris making me say it? Find out Sparkcast episode 44, Transformers Season 1 DVD special features from Shout Factory.
I went through the whole thing without anything difficult to pronounce, so...
Did I say that? Deceptarian?
I
Nope.
think it's a Deceptatron. Or Deceptatran, maybe.
Okay. What? All right.
You're a Deceptatron.
Ouch.
I was going with Deceptitron, but
Oh.
I don't know. Who knows? Finally, Geekade's got a brand new podcast, and it's something completely different from any other show we've hosted before. Radio Free Rhea is an all-new sci-fi narrative show about a space station and the incredibly strange goings-on within and around. There are lots of strange characters, bizarre situations, and mysterious events, all told with a dash of humor and just the right level of insanity. Be sure to check out Radio Free Rhea Episode 1, now available wherever Geekade podcasts are sold.
For all this great content and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on geekade.com. And we're back. It's time for the news. Let's get started. All right, let's see. What do we got here? From Deadline.com, Cartoon Network Studios unveils animated shorts program Cartoons to boost diverse storytelling. Does anybody remember the old Cartoons banner?
Yeah, a little bit.
Why do I want to say Ed, Ed, and Eddie? Like, is that wrong? Is that way off?
Well, if I'm not
No,
mistaken,
I don't think so.
a lot
I
of
think that was...
Yeah, didn't a lot of shows get their start? Like Powerpuff Girls got their start from that?
Yeah, it's like kind of what Cartoon Network was calling their original programming, I think, back in the old days. It's nice to see them reviving that brand. I've always liked that cartoons. And, making new shorts from different creators, I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, it said that in the article that they're going to open it up to a lot of different types of styles of art and storytelling for different age groups. And I don't know, I just like this because it makes me think more of the anthology style things that they're doing, like Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots. Have you guys watched that at all?
I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, that's really good. Actually, quick shout out. I do want to mention that a friend of mine from the Q-Bird School wrote one of the episodes in season 2, All Through the House. So if you guys watch it, let me know what you think.
Neat.
Yeah.
All right, well, way to go, Cartoon Network. Sorry, I'm tired.
I can't imagine why.
It's been a long life. Next up, a show I sadly did not get the chance to watch because I watched The Bad Batch instead, and, well, it is what it is. I'll get around to it. Deadline, once again, Castlevania to end with Season 4, as Netflix eyes new series in the same universe. For like a split second, I was kind of upset and really kind of mystified, like, why the heck would they end Castlevania? Oh, because they're just going to do a different game. Gotcha. So, Castlevania, the anime, is effectively based on Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. There's about 450 other Castlevania games with lots of lore and characters. So I think it's cool that they're ending it here, and then they're going to move on to a different thing set in the Castlevania universe, because there's so many more wacky and interesting stories to tell. I'm very curious where they're going to go next. And what characters they're going to involve in them. So
was the current season, the one that just played, was that 4 or was that 3?
That was 4. The one that just
so it's done.
Happened. Yeah, it should be done now.
Gotcha.
I haven't checked out any of season 4, but I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Okay.
So hey, huzzah!
Huzzah.
I am very much looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Cool.
I agree. It is cool.
I like
Darn
it.
it.
I like it. Does that help? I haven't even caught up yet, but
Huzzah.
I'm down.
Yeah. We were gonna
give me
do
some
a
Portrait of
rewatch.
Ruin. It's the only other game I know.
That'd make a good one.
That's
The thing. There's so many. A lot of the Castlevania games, especially the early ones, don't really have a lot of characters. Castlevania 3 had a cast of characters to begin with, so that kind of worked really well. So I don't know. They could go with Symphony of the Night and give us more Alucard, and then some Richter and Maria and wonderful Dracula Resurrections. There's a dark priest named Shaft. I mean, come on.
Was there an N64 Castlevania game?
There was. It was not great.
Was that the one that has like a... you start as a female I don't know if maybe you could choose. You go into like a haunted mansion, like a creepy haunted mansion with like a rose garden maze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that game freaked me out, and I
was all
quit
3D.
in the rose garden, which was probably more than like 20 minutes into the game. So.
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
Oh, cool.
Like the very, very beginning of the game is kind of the high point, which isn't even all that high to begin with, but it was fine. Rest of the game was like, all right. There was this great bit towards the end where you had to carry a bunch of nitroglycerin around, so you couldn't jump or even like fall off a step, because if you did, you exploded.
What?
Like that Lost episode of that teacher, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like the Arnst. Good times. Anyway, so Variety. This one comes to us from Variety. Ginny and Georgia renewed for season 2 by Netflix.
I think I found this story like a minute after I finished watching season 1, and I was so excited.
Yes.
Yeah, great show. Lots more to be done there. So very happy to see that it will get more. And that's all I have to say about that.
And next week I will give you my final thoughts on season 1.
Okie dokie.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also from Variety, Amelia Clark joins Marvel's Secret Invasion at Disney Plus.
Okay, I'm just going to be honest and
Go ahead,
tell
honey.
you.
Please say exactly what you said to
Oh,
me.
do I have to say it exactly like that? Oh, man, I don't know if I can do
All
this.
right, you don't have to say exactly.
I don't
the gist.
recognize Amelia Clark unless I see her with her boobs out and her hair done white. I just like...
It took me a minute too to realize who that was.
I've seen her in other roles and I still just, I'm like, your hair is white. Just have white hair. And the first time I saw her on Game of Thrones and she had like this beautiful, like voluptuous, I understand she's supposed to be a teenager. She's not a teenager, I'm sorry. But she has this beautiful, like voluptuous body and then they just have her like tits out on the show. And I'm just like, I'm in love with this woman to tell me everything. And then, everyone ended up hating her by the end of the show. But I'd never, I was like, yeah, Amelia Clark, why do I care? And I was like, Game of Thrones, why do I care? Now I get it. So hopefully she won't be another hated character in this.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she was one of the interesting parts in Solo.
See, I fucking forgot
she
she
in
was even
Solo?
in that.
Well, I mean,
she was like the main
yeah, she
female
was,
character.
Yeah.
she was the main character that wasn't not Han Solo. Because that guy was not Han Solo. Yeah,
In
he's
fairness,
not Han Solo.
we watched Solo once and it didn't leave much of an impression on me.
She was also in
Said the entire
Terminator.
world.
Yeah, I think that's why there's not going to be another one.
She was in a Terminator movie, wasn't she?
Yeah, or show. Was
Terminator
it
Genesis.
Genesis? Okay.
No, Genesis.
Genesis.
Apparently.
Genisys.
Oh, good.
That's what
Great.
makes it
I'm glad we're
special.
spelling things properly.
Much like Sifi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Genesis.
We'll never apologize for it.
Apparently, she's going to voice a role in the upcoming animated film, The Amazing Maurice.
Oh,
It's Maurice.
Maurice. Maurce. I don't know. I think she's really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any of the time that she'd do those wacky behind the scenes videos for Game of Thrones, she was genuinely funny. Like, she's apparently just a big goofball, so that's great.
Did you
I've seen some
And
interviews with
she's-
her, yeah. Sorry.
And she's joining the MCU, so
yeah.
yay,
Yeah.
more quality people in the MCU.
Hope
Let's
it's
just
in
get
a-
them all in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you remember when she did the bit on SNL?
Nope.
So Jon Snow was the main actor on the show, on the episode, and during his monologue at the beginning, they had a couple of characters from Game of Thrones, like actors, I should say, in this audience, because he was taking questions, and it was like, hey, can you tell me what the end of who is the Lord or the King of Thrones kind of thing? And at one point in time, she's like, hey, you remember that time that we did it?
Yes, I do remember that sketch.
Fucking hysterical. Anywho, she's funny. I like her, and it also involves the fact that Secret Invasion is just that much closer.
That's exciting.
Yes, it
Mhm.
is.
Speaking of exciting, HuffPost presents First Look at Ted Lasso Season 2 reveals a new addition to the cast. I don't even remember what the new addition to the cast is, honestly, I don't even care. Just Ted Lasso Season 2 is all I needed to hear. I loved Season 1 of this show. I cannot wait to see more.
Don't worry, it's not someone we've heard of, I think. Sports psychologist Sharon, played by Sarah Niles.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Season 2 kicks off on Apple TV Plus on July 23rd, so we don't even have to wait that long.
That's exciting.
Thank you for knowing what's going on with that one, because I looked at that article and went, I have no context. Move on.
Oh my goodness, this show was so freaking good. And you told me last night that this was a Bill Lawrence joint, right?
Yes!
Is it? Bill Lawrence. That's Scrubs, right?
Yeah,
Right,
Scrubs
we were
and
watching
Cougar
Cougar
Town.
Town,
Cougar Town.
and Chris was like, "What's he been up to? What has he been doing? Has he made anything else?" And I was like, "Yes, Ted fucking Lasso."
So is
No
his
wonder
wife in
I
it?
love this show.
Is it because he keeps putting his wife in his shows? That's
No.
No,
I haven't
Krista
seen
Miller
her,
has
yeah.
not shown up yet.
damn.
Yet. She will.
No doubt she will. But the show's fantastic, and now I feel this even closer connection to why it's fantastic. Yay!
Yeah.
More Ted Lasso. What a wonderful show.
Aw,
Let's see.
Gimme.
Tor.com. The Witcher will return this fall. And that's the story.
Yeah, no
Yes.
date, no trailer.
Nope, but they put the production wrap, which was kind of cool.
Mhm.
I did like looking at that, and honestly, just anytime Henry Cavill is on screen
Yes.
as girl type,
Put-
yeah.
Put more of that into my eyeballs, please.
it's just so fucking fantasy. The white hair, the gold eye, it's so badass.
But look at that white hair
Doesn't
compared
look
to
fake.
Jupiter's Legacy.
that's exactly
That's how you do a white hair wig.
But aren't they both Netflix? So
Yes,
what the
this is my
fuck?
point.
Get that hair person onto Jupiter's Legacy.
Seriously.
Uh-huh. Listen, I will not apologize for my rage. Netflix, you come at me.
I'm sure Netflix is real scared.
Listen, Netflix, you owe me an apology. Okay.
Hell hath no fury like a woman fighting for white hair.
Hell hath no fury like a white beard.
Oh, good times.
Next up, there was a new Modoc trailer that I very intentionally didn't watch because I'm already sold on this show. Like,
I had no idea what to expect. I forgot.
I've
It's hysterical.
seen, I've watched it without sound just to see a general, the claymation look of it all. I can't wait to watch this show.
So, favorite part of this clip, Wonder Man, voiced by Nathan Fillion.
Really?
Yeah, remember when it's like a while ago they said that he was playing Wonder Man?
I remember that. Yeah. That's great.
So, fantastic. It looks really good. It's not what I expected. It's what was that? The show with the figures.
Robot Chicken?
Robot Chicken-esque, and I feel like that's the line or the vein of comedy it's going with also. So, a lot of fun.
I'm into it. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
I'm not a big Modoc fan. I've gone on record and saying I hate Modoc. I feel he's a waste of a character, but I'm okay with watching this.
Who is the character that to me looks just like Modoc, but I guess
Arnim
isn't?
Zola?
What?
Arnim Zola?
Maybe? I don't know.
His belly is a television.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
How do you spell it? What is it?
Zola.
Arnim Zola. ARNIMZOLA.
Because his face looked like it was like pinned on. No, it's not him. There was a character. Maybe it was Modoc, but there was a version of him where his face looks like it's literally clipped on. It's like stretched out skin.
It has been drawn different ways,
Okay.
but it's always been a big head in a suit. even
That's
though
what I
it's
thought, but there was a
looked
version of
different.
him that it was like there was an X-Men thing where he takes them to an alternate universe and it's all TVs.
Oh,
Mojo.
Mojo, not Modoc. There we go. Okay. And this is why I was struggling with this. So I wouldn't watch this trailer because when I saw that name, yeah, that's him. I got super freaked out and thought they were making a show about him and went, I'll never watch this. Why would you do this to children? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I saw that the trailer started playing anyway. Got super confused. Okay, the world is right again. I will now finally watch this trailer because I'm not so scared.
A lot of good
Okay.
voice
Yeah,
casting.
I don't want to spoil any of the jokes on the show, and honestly, I'm kind of with Evan. I don't really like Modoc unless it's played for absurdity, because what the hell? I mean,
Yeah.
just look at that design; it's completely bonkers.
Yep.
So when you see him show up in something like Marvel vs. Capcom, for example, you turn him into a fighting game character. Yeah, I got to see this because he's kicking his little legs around. It's hysterical. That's the kind when play him for like a serious threat in the comics or anything. It never works for me because no matter how vicious you make him or whatever, he's still this giant head with dinky little legs on a rocket chair. It's just...
Yeah, there's a whole comic series for just him. It was titled Modoc, and Dan loved it. I could not open the book at all. Like
that's so Dan. Like
it's true.
That character in general that plays to every single one of Dan's comic book sensibilities. Like that's absolutely a character Dan would love.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's head back to Deadline.com, who is talking about the Flintstones adult animated comedy sequel series Bedrock from Elizabeth Banks in the works at Fox.
Why?
I was curious. Like that's pretty much what we get. It's Pebbles grown up or like 20 something, and she's starting her own career. All the cast of characters apparently are there, Bam Bam and so on. That's what popped into my head when I saw this article.
Well, do you guys remember a couple of years back when they did the relaunch of all of these comic titles? They had the Scooby-Doo launch, the Flintstones, everything.
The Hanna-Barbera line is still there. They're
right.
Still active.
I was going to say, but when it first launched, people were kind of, I thought, the conversations in my social circles were also, why? Why is this happening? But I got to tell you, I picked up some of those comics, and I was actually pretty into the art on the Flintstones comic and the story, like where it was going. I don't know if this is going to draw any inspiration from any of that, but I'm curious. Like, I don't know. There's so many weird things.
The Flintstones is a very important part of television history, especially television animation history.
Right.
So the idea of creating a version of it that can exist in the modern day is not bad. This seems like the kind of property that is ripe for a reboot, right? It hasn't been...
Yes, it has.
In a long time. I'm not saying it hasn't been ever. It just hasn't been in a long time. I mean, what was the last real attempt to reboot the Flintstones? There were the live action movies in like the 90s.
So, yeah, that's all
and
I
then
know.
There's been a lot of attempts to reboot it since, but none of them have gone anywhere. None of them even made it like past the pilot, I think.
It was just weird that it came out of nowhere, and the fact that Elizabeth Banks is attached to it.
Yeah, it's got some interesting personalities behind it. I'm not saying this is a great idea, like making it into, an adult television series, but then again, that was kind of the intent of the first one. Like,
it was a Honeymooners ripoff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't say ripoff. It was an homage.
Most of it was a ripoff. Most of it was family friendly, but the visual gags were for the kids, and then they, dysfunctional relationship stuff was for the grown-ups.
Did you ever see this Flintstones cigarette commercials?
No.
Yeah, back when Flintstones first aired, they did a run of commercials that featured Fred and Barney smoking cigarettes, and they were selling cigarettes. It was fucking hysterical. It's fantastic. What a different world we live in right now.
I just have to tell you guys, I looked up the history of the Flintstones just to see if anything has come out that we hadn't really recognized, and most of it was before the 90s. Most of it came and went, and it was little specials here and there, nothing big. Then the live action films in the 90s, and then the gem that is the Flintstones and WWE Stone Age SmackDown in 2015.
Wow.
This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I got hung up in this article because it said something about Banks's Pebbles, and I think what they were going for is like Elizabeth Banks's vision of Pebbles in the show, and not that she's actually playing Pebbles. Because if this show is supposed to be about 20-something Pebbles, I love you, Elizabeth Banks, but you are not in your 20s.
Well, listen, it's Stone Age
I just got
20s.
confused for a
It's a
minute.
rough life back then.
Well, whatever.
The aging process could have been different. Anyway, cool. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like, honestly.
Yeah,
We have a
I'm
launch
not like
date.
violently opposed, but I'm not, eagerly anticipating either. I'm just, okay, that's a thing. I'll check it out when it shows up.
Yep, same.
All right.
I don't see anything specific for launch date, so when we get more news on it, we'll let y'all know.
We shall.
John Cena met Fred Flintstone in that movie.
Yeah, he did.
Oh my
Okay, I'm
God.
good, sorry.
Moving on.
More
Moving
wrestling
on.
later.
Yeah.
From the company that brought you Yahoo Screen, Yahoo Entertainment gives us the news that Netflix's Sweet Tooth sets off an epic adventure in first trailer for DC series. I have never read this comic.
I've read smatterings of it, but what really intrigued me was the visual aspect of it. Like, this is a beautiful trailer, like visually, and the fact that it takes place in I want to say an apocalyptic kind of future where a virus has taken over and killed off a huge swath of population, and hybrids start being born, and the main character is this young kid who is part deer, and that's all I got. Like, that's all I can remember. And when I went into like this article, I don't know what happened. I don't remember there being a trailer attached to it when I tagged it here, but then I just watched this because all I saw was stills. Netflix does know how to do makeup, because it really looks like this kid has antlers. So it's not bad bearded, but like, I'm shocked to see that they're going with this. Like, it's this comic is beloved in this comic culture. Like, it's a well-known comic.
Yeah, I remember working in the comic book store, and I never wanted to read it because it everyone told me it was good, but it horrified me. Like, I just thought it was the ugliest thing I had ever seen, and I don't want to look at this. That's a part of reading comic books, is looking at it. And I hated the art in that book.
Yeah.
So I stayed away from it. But I don't know
The
if
art
this really
style
is
of the
a
comic
good
is a
story.
weird one.
It seems like there's a lot of talent behind it. So
It looks good. The trailer, from what I'm seeing of the trailer, it's visually intriguing. So
I'm more open to this art style now as an adult than I was when I first started looking at this comic years ago, because it did come out years ago. So I'm hopeful. Yeah, it says the inclusion in January 2013. It looks like it ended in 2013. It ran from 2009, and it says now it has some stuff coming up in 2021, but I think it basically ran from 2009 to 2013 for the most part. And yeah, like, I remember being at the Cougar school looking at this because other people were looking through it and being like, I can't do this. No, I don't care if the story's good. I don't like the art. And now my tastes have changed, and I think I'd be able to deal with it just because it looks cool.
what I did also like about this is one of the producers, or the team of producers, is the Team Downey,
Yeah.
which is Susan Downey and Robert Downey Jr., which is
Yeah.
really cool.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
And I like that her name was listed
First. Yep. I noticed that as well.
I'm curious, Chris, you said the art style bothers you. It's the art style of the comic, correct?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the look of the comic book.
So, but if this was, if the show was interesting to you, the concept of like animal-human hybrids doesn't bother you to look at.
I mean, not any more than I think its intent is to.
Okay. Because I'm interested in watching the show, but it sounded
He's
like
afraid of
maybe you
dear
didn't
children.
want to watch it because
Yeah,
you
no,
weren't interested in the
No,
comic.
I'd be into checking out the show. I think the show looks neat. It's I have no really concept of the source material, because the combination of the artwork and then the name Sweet Tooth just kind of bugged me. So I steered clear.
It's a very
But-
stylized artwork, but I get it. Makes sense.
There's a jaded art part of me that's worried about what's going to come out of this, and I hope that it won't be grossly inappropriate.
What do you mean?
The furry community.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't
That
even
comes
think
up
about
on
that.
my stream. I talk about the Black Sad comic a lot. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that.
Yes.
But this comic, just looking at the art in this show, reminds me a little bit of that, because it was like anthropomorphic animal people. Like, that's the animation style, right? And every time I bring stuff like this up within certain circles of the art community, it goes into, well, blah, 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 this is going to happen. And I'm worried a little bit about that with this show. I really hope that doesn't end up tainting anything that comes out, because I really like this concept and I love drawing fantasy creatures and fantasy people, and it's really cool to incorporate aspects of animals into creating fantasy characters, and this show is going to have a lot of that from the looks of it, and I really, 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 really want to see something good come out of this.
Just hope it doesn't get tainted.
Yeah, I do need to express that concern, and I really just hope that people don't suck so bad that they ruin this for me.
I hope that too.
Buckle up.
I was going to say, stay off the internet.
Yeah. Well, you guys will probably notice it before I do, so just warn me if I need to be scared.
I steer pretty far clear of those circles. The closest they ever really get to my life is occasionally the Sonic community will jump in. If you want disturbing furries, look into the Sonic the Hedgehog community.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that was a thing. My life is over. Ugh. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah. Stories of working in a comic book store. Yikes.
Right? See, at least you guys understand the context of this as an artist. Like, this is not something, unfortunately, that is unusual for an artist to be spoken to about.
Well, you're an artist. You're supposed to be cool with it.
Yay,
Come on now.
comics.
Anyway, comicbook.com reports that Ana Lucia Menezes? Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Digimon and Avatar The Last Airbender star dies at 46. This was, at least in the circles that it was posted in, it was slightly misleading. She did the Brazilian dubs for a lot of these shows. Not making her any less important, just if you thought that the... let's see, I want to look this up just to be sure.
Yeah, she did stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho, Digimon, Toph, Clone Wars. She was Ahsoka in Clone Wars.
But the English or the
Not in English, yeah.
No,
in English it was Ashley Eckstein.
Okay.
And let's see.
Anyone who represents Toph is a hero to me.
Yeah, because Toph is such a great character. Toph Beifong was played by Michaela Jill Murphy in the American dub. Not the American dub, the American version. It was not
I was
dubbed.
like, wait, what?
There was no dub. That show was made in America. So, but yes, she was the voice of her elsewhere in the world, and it's a shame.
Still a loss.
I appreciate being able to recognize voice actors who are influential in other languages, because I think that a lot of us, we're English speaking, so we don't even think about that, and I think it's important to acknowledge them too. So I was very appreciative of that post.
Well, moving on to no less sad news, but sad for a different reason. The Mary Sue reports Mickey the Idiot is an idiot. Doctor Who actor Noel Clarke accused of sexual harassment, misconduct, and bullying. What the hell?
Yeah. Bummer.
Yeah,
It's
And
not.
this came out right after he got a BAFTA, I think.
So the article, I will tell you, Evan and I had some conversation about this, but I'm going to keep it brief for the sake of the fact that we have a lot more to talk about already. Basically, the Guardian Post did this. They had the interview with the 20 different women, and they told the BAFTA staff, basically, before releasing the article, that they had this. They told them 13 days before the awards that they had been, about these allegations, and they proceeded anyway. The BAFTA happened. They proceeded anyway, and basically
it's BAFTAling.
Stop it. Hey,
oh my God, it's almost like you're funny, but you're not. Bazinga.
That's right. I'm hilarious.
No.
This story being breaking also kind of dredged up an older story about John Barrowman, who apparently was given to similar sort of antics, but in more of a playful way. Still gross, but like, you know, he was known for like just whipping it out in like,
oh, Jesus.
you know, the makeup trailer or whatever. Apparently he would like come up while, you know, Camille Kaduri, who played Rose's mom, would be getting her makeup done and just like put his dick on her shoulder until
Oh my
she noticed
God.
it.
Like, how do people think that's okay?
Right. And like you know the type of person John Barrowman is, then you know, like, okay, like I get it. He didn't mean any harm. He still shouldn't be doing that.
So
But
like, yeah, that's I don't know. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not jumping to any conclusions until there's like, you know, like if there are criminal charges or whatever, if stuff is happening. It was just, to me, it was a little shady that like the committee or the chair or whatever that runs the BAFTA like had this information and they didn't think to like maybe hold off on this and investigate further, which would have made more sense because now they're like, oh, we've suspended the award. Like maybe you should have. I don't know.
like way to backpedal, guys. But
Yeah.
to be clear about Barrowman, he had already apologized for these actions. It just sort of dredged up that story.
Jesus.
And you can also tell that Barrowman is the kind of person who would, you know, have learned from that and probably doesn't do that anymore.
I hope not.
You would hope not, considering the way the world has changed in the last 10 years and the fact that he probably wouldn't still be working if he was still pulling that kind of shit.
Yeah.
True.
So I'm, you know, not trying to jump down the cancel culture pipeline thing. I just wanted to say I think it's shady. I don't really know full details. I see that I see what the accusations are. And it, you know, I just, oh God, I honestly just so many times I'm like, I just hope that some part of this isn't true because it's so fucking awful. But 20 women's a lot. So,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about something a little more cheerful, maybe.
Depends on who you are.
Oh, come on. This is good.
I'm just not for some of the characters in the show. That's all.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's very true.
This comes to us from Review Fix. Amazon Studios renews Robert Kirkman's Invincible for 2 more seasons.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Sign me up.
Such a great show. Good show. Great show.
Yeah, I am 100% into it, and I'm going to continue to avoid reading the comic books because I don't want to be even remotely spoiled for where the show's going to go.
I'll tell you, when they got to the end of this season, that's when I actually started reading Invincible because I started out of order.
Okay.
So when it finally started catching up, I remember like some of the shots. I feel like they might have been like shot for shot the same as the panels in the comic, which just made like such a fucking cool nod. This show, my God, it knows how to mess with your emotions. I'm so ready for seasons 2 and 3, though. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm wondering how many seasons it's going to take for them to do the whole series.
I hope they get to go that far.
Yeah, me too.
Good times.
But
Great.
yay.
I mean, not good times for
Yes,
people.
I mean, entertaining
times for us
but not
watching.
always good times.
That's fair. Yeah.
All right, let's see TV line. Heels. Stephen Amell's Stars Wrestling Drama Sets premiere. I forgot this was even happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stephen Amell gets to be a wrestler.
Just like
Yeah, he's a
always
big
wanted.
wrestling fan.
Yeah.
So I
He
thought
did
I just
wrestle for like a special or something? Like,
yeah,
wasn't he?
he went.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that fucking event when he showed up in
I'm
the
so
ring.
happy I could see her animation.
Sorry, I get a little excited. So for anyone who doesn't know, I don't get to watch wrestling anymore because they got rid of the WWE app, which I just recently found out about. But I don't have cable television, which is how I used to watch it, and so for the last few years, I haven't really had access to wrestling. So I very much enjoy things that are relevant to the time where I did get to watch. And one of the things that I got to see was Stephen Amell getting into the ring. I don't even remember who he got into the ring with. I feel like it was like The Miz. It wasn't even anybody that I cared that much about. And it was just like, oh my God, like, if you ever see him on Arrow, you're like, dude, he's jacked. He can do all like the salmon things where he's like going up the salmon ring when he like he's holding on and he like does that crazy shit where he climbs up while doing pull-ups because he's a monster. And then he gets in the ring next to a wrestler, and you're like, that man is tiny. Like, holy shit.
He's just a normal-sized human being.
Right?
Okay?
But, like, it's just wrestlers in comparison to everyone else. Like, you don't always realize how big and strong and fit they actually get. But seeing that he, like, took this love of wrestling and has decided to turn it into something more, and that he's actually able to do this because of all of the other successes he's had, I'm ready. I'm like, I'm super into it. I'm a big fan of Stephen Amell. I like a lot of the stuff he's done outside of like his acting, just like his philanthropic movements and things that he, like, it's just the way he interviews, and I don't know, whatever. I'm just looking forward to this. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good, and it gives me more wrestling content to watch that, you know, isn't actually wrestling, because I can't watch that right now. So, end rant. Yay.
All right.
Sorry, y'all. I'm ready for this.
The show is about, what is it, two brothers that go into wrestling, and one of them is the star and the other one's the heel? Like, then doesn't that play out in their real life?
Yeah, it says like it's basically their, let's see. Supporting cast. I'm trying to see if there's like the quick summary in this article. Family-owned wrestling promotion as two brothers and rivals war over their late father's legacy. In the ring, somebody must play the good guy and somebody must play their nemesis, the heel. But in the real world, those characters can be hard to live up to or hard to leave behind. That was kind of like how they built the premise up. And the guy that plays his brother is actually an actor from the show Vikings. He was Bjorn, for anyone who has watched that show, like adult version, obviously. And I think that that's going to be interesting to see too, because he was like kind of tanky looking in the show. I have no idea what he looks like in real life. And so seeing him opposite Stephen Amell, I want to know if they're going to bring any real wrestlers into this show. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it looks like they're just trying to basically like figure out how to run this, figure out what to do with wrestling.
I want to see them bring in some people from Glow.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
That'd be really, really cool. But yeah, it just kind of looks like it's got something to do with them trying to build up their wrestling business. I don't know if they're actually wrestlers or if they're recruiters.
Yeah, they're wrestlers.
Like, yeah, but I don't know if they're in the story, if it's about them building themselves up as wrestlers, or if they're like, you know, kind of like a Triple H, and the McMahons, like, you know, they're wrestlers, but they also recruit new talent, so to speak, except for Stephanie. She's just a bitch on a microphone. It's fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's what people say about me. Meanwhile, over at Deadline.com, Netflix sets Blake Lively to star, Diablo Cody to write Ladykiller, adaptation of Dark Horse comic.
Yeah! Best thing ever! Okay, I'm good. So
I posted this for her.
Yeah.
Okay, because...
Quick adaptation breakdown. Ladykiller is about a 1950s-ish looking housewife who's secretly an assassin, trying to juggle all of the responsibilities of being a loving mother and a good housewife while taking lives in the background. It's an awesome comic drawn by one of my favorite artists, Joelle Jones, and she had started this in partnership with another person, then actually ended up taking over the whole creative franchise. There are only 2 trades for the story. It is not a finished comic, and I am going to be livid if there is not a conclusion to the, like, this better not turn into a Game of Thrones bullshit thing where the books never get done, because I love this series, and I love the art and the detail.
Finished Game of Thrones. I forgot about that.
Right? Yeah, I'm fucking over the moon. And the fact that Blake Lively, like, I really, really hope that she's going to be the main character. That would just be so cool. So if she gets to be, if it says the plan is for her to be Josie Schuler, who is the female lead. But I really hope that it's going to happen, because it doesn't look definite yet, and there's no release date or anything, and I'm just losing my mind.
Settle down, Beavis.
Okay.
Or, you know, don't settle down, because BleedingCool.com delivers the other 2 of the 1-2 punch, Leanne M. Crick's Let's Play webtoon comic, now live-action TV show. Take it away, kids.
Fangirl moment.
Yay.
Holy
This
motherfucking
webtoon has been on
shirtballs.
hiatus for so long. I was like,
know.
where the hell is it? I want to know what's going to happen. She's
Okay,
really
so wait,
good at cliffhangers.
Do you ship Sam and Charles?
I don't know who I ship at this point. I ship Sam and Marshall.
Okay.
I ship Sam and Marshall.
I really like the way Charles looks out for her, and oh my god, y'all. Okay, this webtoon. Listen, you need you know what? You don't need to read it now because it's gonna be a TV show. It's so good,
And it is also unfinished. So
yeah. So,
and the thing that I love it, but it is also like super slow paced. So hopefully they work that out in the TV adaptation to make it like move a little faster. Cause like every week is like one tiny little bite and I'm like, are you ever gonna kiss?
yes, but I have to say one of the things. So if you guys want to follow the artist, she goes by Mandri or Manji, there it is, or Mongrel Marie at Mongrel Marie on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. And I saw some stuff in her like stories and posts about how there was like a little bit of struggle going on with like getting season 3 out. But part of the reason that she has paced these seasons the way that she has, or installments of this comic, is she really wanted this to feel more like an organic development for the character. She breaks the fourth wall sometimes in the story, and she's like, oh, what? Wouldn't it be funny if this was like one of those normal stories where like the girl gets really angry and like hangs on to that rage for like four seasons or some bullshit like that. Like she'll like make fun of these tropes in and of themselves sometimes in the story, and so I appreciate the fact that she makes us wait. I do. It takes a long time.
I want it, and I want it now.
I know, but like, man, I respect that though. I really need to stop. All I want to do is make thirsty ass fan art from this comic, and like, I can't do this. Like between this and Lore Olympus, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. All right, moving on.
And the art is so good. Like this is gonna be live action, but if you do want to go check out the webtoon, you should. And it's so good.
I'm glad that you like the art.
I do.
It's not my favorite, but I will give it a pass. It's fine. Move on.
I'm not as
I know.
I'm not as trained as you.
No, it's because I
I'm
think
a filthy casual.
she does a lot of the stuff that I think a lot of other artists do, where they use 3D models now, and sometimes I can tell because like there's like a detail that I'll see sometimes on the art that I know is like from 3D models and using them. But it's a very smart way to save time and efficiently create this. She's got a lot of characters, a lot of settings, and it's I think honestly it's a very smart way to do it because it's still so beautifully rendered that at the end of the day when I read it, I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. Like, I don't care. It's fine. Keep going. But yeah, I'd love to see her do some stuff where she like breaks away from that in the future. Okay. Yay. Very excited.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to pick up the pace because we still have about 350 news stories and it's getting late. So,
Yep.
Let's see. YouTube, there was a new trailer for the Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie.
Yeah, that's it. Hey,
Cool.
Sailor Moon fans, go fucking
New
watch.
Sailor Moon.
Is that like the original Sailor Moon and they just lumped a bunch of episodes together to make a movie?
I actually don't know. It's the new art style. It's the Sailor Moon Crystal art style. I think that that's what they're doing. I think that they're...
Because I watched the trailer and it was like the whole whatever it was arc in one double movie, and I was
Yes.
like, okay, what's a double movie? What's this? What is going on? Because I used to watch Sailor Moon, but like not since high school, and since I am old and decrepit, that was a very long time ago.
Yeah, since they're bringing in the Outer Senshi, I'm not 100% on like how far. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on how this is going, but I know that. I think this is the replacement for a season. Like, I know that they're not doing, if I'm not mistaken, they have 3 seasons out. They're not doing a season 4, and I think that this is how they're handling it, is to release the movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Deadline reports. Legends of the Hidden Temple reboot lands at the CW.
Come on, Legends of the Hidden Temple. Come on now.
Everyone's
That's a good
gonna
home
watch.
for it.
Oddly, after I posted this, I got a note, or I saw on my Facebook, friends of ours are applying to be on this show.
Oh.
Ro and
It's Ro, really?
So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
If anyone can do it,
awesome.
they can.
I mean, it would be awesome to see them because perfect casting for Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Yes.
So
They would
I
be
am
great.
thrilled that this is a thing that's happening and not the thing that we had a news story about several months and months back where
Yep.
it was going to be a drama series. Like it wasn't going to be a competition series.
Right.
It's going to be like some sort of science fiction-y drama, fantasy, whatever stupidity. So, all right, good times.
Mhm.
I'm into it.
And it's
Cuckoo.
going to be adults instead of kids, which is better.
even better.
Yay.
Mhm.
Okay, Deadline also reporting Adult Swim has 3 movies in the works for Aqua Teen Hunger Force, The Venture Brothers, and Metalocalypse. This made me so happy because they so recently canceled The Venture Brothers without, like, it was going to end. Like, that was the thing. It was going to, they had, like, another story to tell. It's going to be a movie. I mean, an Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie, I never even watched the first one, and I liked the show. I just couldn't imagine watching it for I couldn't imagine an Aqua Teen Hunger Force narrative lasting that long.
Right.
Me not
I agree with that.
actually losing my head. So I've never been down that road, and I never got into Metalocalypse. But Venture Brothers I love, and I love that they're making a movie. Sign me all the way up.
Cool.
Totally into it.
Dig it.
Let's see, we have comicbook.com, Orphan Black, The Next Chapter, Season 2 announced, more original cast members returning. These are audiobooks, right?
It's more like a podcast, like it sounds like it's similar, like a fiction podcast similar to sort of like Radio Free Rhea.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think it's going to be something like that. But Tatiana Maslany does do voices for this, from what I understand. So
It's only her.
right, yeah.
She does all of the voices.
And it looks as though I was trying to see. There was a tweet here I couldn't tell if this was actually the season 2, but I think it's coming out in September. So I just thought that was cool for people who are Orphan Black fans if they want more Orphan Black content. This looks like a really cool way to get it. I know once I discovered this, I decided that's going to be my next podcast. So yeah, let's listen together. That's it.
Okay,
Hooray.
cool. HuffPost, the Huffington Post, or HuffPost if you're nasty, reports Friends reunion special gets first trailer and premiere date on HBO Max.
I didn't even watch the trailer because I don't need it because I'm in.
Wait, is it the trailer? Is it a trailer or is it a teaser trailer?
I don't know.
Because there was one that they posted where it was just the music playing.
It's
real
just their
slow
butts.
and their butts. Okay.
Well, thanks. That doesn't do
Don't
anything.
need it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just curious to see what they all looked like. That was it. I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
next week. It's May 27th. So every 30 and 40 something, get ready to freak out. Because literally my timeline just exploded when this story dropped. Like, holy shit, Friends! And like, I really think a lot of people do not understand that it's not going to be an episode. It's going to be like a special.
Yeah, they're just getting together, hanging out.
But I guess let them all be disappointed because they didn't pay attention. But
They did something like that similar with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
yeah,
where they got the cast back
exactly.
together.
It's
So
that type of thing. So still cool. Still want to see it.
I'll watch it.
So it's just people getting together and hanging out, right? Like they're not acting. They're just gonna.
They're just going to be
it's
friends.
just the actors talking about the
The
show, and then
show.
famous people who are fans of the show talking about it too.
Yeah, because I saw that and I was like, last time I checked, Justin Bieber was not on that show. Okay.
and it
Yes,
was all the
and,
better for
my
it.
Neither was
friend
Malala.
They somewhere, I don't know if it's in this article, but somewhere they posted a list of all the celebrities that are going to appear in the special, and it was like the most random collection of celebrities' names you've ever seen in your life. Like,
Yes.
the only thing that could possibly connect all of these people is that they're fans of the show.
I'm into it.
I'll buy it.
Speaking of things that I'm interested in, Variety reports Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill return for Enola Holmes sequel on Netflix.
Yay,
Yes.
more
Yes.
Henry Cavill content.
And,
More Enola
you know,
Holmes. I named a D&D character after her.
That was a
Neat.
great
Cool.
movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Look, we're cruising, Chris. Keep it up. Come on.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Trying to keep it short.
Pages
Sorry.
are loading as fast as they can load.
Oh, you're actually pulling up. I didn't
BBC,
realize.
Doctor Who.tv. All the doctors join the immersive West End show Time Fracture.
Yeah, this is a weird thing. They're doing like a live show in the West End in London, which is the equivalent of Broadway over there. And it's like an interactive show. So, like, I guess,
I
our
need a
multimedia
job and a place.
right.
Go.
But it's going to involve like recorded content from all the actors who've played the Doctor, and for the ones who have passed, what's his name that has done the first Doctor before is doing it again. I'm a terrible person that I can't remember his name. I don't care about cookies. And then the son of Patrick Troughton, who played the second Doctor, is playing the second Doctor. So very cool type of thing if you are an overseas listener, and they are bringing in audio involvement from Kate Lethbridge Stewart, and Joe Martin and Jodie Whittaker, and
Is Eccleston?
voice actors taking on fan favorites 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors, and pre-recorded cameos from Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy. So
It's Eccleston that had the problem, right?
yes, so
Is
it's not he's not involved, nor is Tennant or Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi.
Gotcha.
Their voice actors will be playing those roles, but however many Doctors, I can't give an accurate count because I know Jodie Whittaker's 13, but when you factor in the War Doctor
Right.
and then the black woman Doctor that was in the last season, and like whatever else they've done in the radio dramas, I'm like, I don't know how many Doctors there are anymore, and I don't care. It's all great.
412. Got it.
Cool.
All right, CBR.com. Marvel's What If animated series sets a Disney Plus premiere month. That month is August.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Yay.
That artwork, look, I love that picture that gets attached to every one of these articles.
I'm just glad that there's an actual launch date on this, because I just realized the Enola Holmes thing didn't have one, and I like launch dates. Give me launch dates. Or premiere months, at least.
Yeah, at least they give me a month to look forward to. August. I'm in.
Yeah.
This show looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, sad news. ET reports Charles Grodin, the Heartbreak Kid and Beethoven star, dies at 86.
Yeah,
He
I don't
had
know if
such
you
a-
grew up an 80s kid.
You know this guy.
This is a bummer. He was in all the things. He was on Letterman and Johnny Carson all the time.
He always played the same guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
He
And he was in The Great Muppet Caper, too. He was Miss Piggy's love interest.
That's
It
true.
said he even showed up in Law and Order SVU.
Yeah,
All right.
he was all over the place.
And yeah, I don't really know much about him, but it looks like he brought a lot of talent to a lot of different things. I'm so sorry about this.
Yeah, huge
and
bummer.
The last one's for just me. I just wanted to put that in there.
All right,
Just
let's
saying.
see. From pilgrimmediagroup.com, Ghost Hunters is back on Discovery Plus. I didn't know Ghost Hunters left. Thought it was just
Well,
over.
Chris, let me get on a long diatribe. There's like 47 different Ghost Hunter shows now. This is the half of the cast from the original Ghost Hunter show. They have a Discovery Channel show called Ghost Nation. That's the name of their show, and they're just coming back. They're on a break. Well, that was it.
Well, it just means Evan has more content to fall asleep
listen,
to, okay?
I am watching shows from like 6 years ago to fall asleep to, woman.
Listen, I'm just saying I'm happy for you, man. I was
Refuse to
worried he was
hate
going to
watch
run
that
out, guys.
Ghost Adventures show. That guy sucks. Anywho, hate them.
Sweet Lord.
We're done.
All right, that is all she wrote. That is going to be our show. That was a
We
lot of
did it.
news. We did it. Good job, guys.
Mm-hmm.
How are we all feeling?
Tired. My back hurts.
Excited.
Yeah, I'm in all that town. So let's go ahead and close this out. This week's episode isn't filmed before a live studio audience, but it is fueled by feedback from listeners like you. And you can get in touch with us in a multitude of ways. We have an official Geekade Discord where there's an entire This Week's Episode channel dedicated to all things TV talk, which we've recently started posting all our news stories in there, and it's turned into a bunch of pretty fun discussions. So hop on into the Discord. It's a good time. We're also on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, through the official Geekade channels, or the more specific Twepcast accounts. And of course, the four of us can be found in various ways. I'm available on Twitter at GeekadeChris, and you can read my work at StoneAgeGamer.com and in the pages of Nintendo Force magazine. Karen, where can people find you?
I am shoot_the_moon on Twitter, or my fun feminist fandom fiber art. I really got to get that down. Can be found at various platforms at STM Stitches.
Angie, what about you?
Go to my Instagram. A for not is the handle. It's AFERNOT.
And Evan, where can people find you?
Geekade_Evan on all the socials.
If you need to know more information about any of the shows we discussed tonight or what we'll be watching in the future, have a look at our show notes. And if you have any other questions at all, we can always be reached at mail@geekade.com. Just include the words "this week's episode" in the subject line so we know who you're trying to reach. This show is available anywhere fine podcasts are sold, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. And wherever you decide to listen, please like, comment, subscribe, and leave reviews, because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. Again, as always, keep your eyes on geekade.com for more fresh, original content. Let's see, our homework is still The Expanse, right?
Nope,
It's
the
the
Nevers.
The Nevers.
Nevers.
Sorry, it was
Season
one of
1.
those The Nevers, Season 1, Episode 1. So we'll be talking about that in our next episode.
We really should chat about Ferg's recommendation as well, because what the hell was Danger 5?
I am looking forward to that. We have a listener request, so that'll be our next show after
What?
what's
Oh my goodness.
I've already forgotten it. The Nevers.
The Nevers.
So yes, we had a great listener request that I cannot wait to check out, because that show looks weird. I'm into it. Thank you very much for the suggestion, Ferg. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it for us. I'm Chris.
I'm Karen.
I'm Angie.
It's just a beard. It's not that difficult.
Good night.
And this concludes our broadcast day.